another pen and ink drawing for today. I've been enjoying drawing to music over the last couple of days, but I thought today I would chat a little bit as I draw. This is the fourth in a series of dreamlike floating rock ink drawings. And once I've done this, I think I'll move on to another set of 4 drawings on a different theme. When one is drawing off the cuff, for want of a better word or expression, it's often nice to group your drawings. Maybe start with something inadvertent and that grows out of a doodle and turns into something more interesting, and you finish the image and think, ah yes, that was quite nice. Well, then it's the next stage is often, I find, to turn it into a little series. And you see this, I suppose, inspiration happen in things like Inktober and the sort of online things where themes are suggested for a month of drawings, and so you're seeing already a sort of way to group things, to say, right, these are the drawings I'm doing in November. That's a group, and then maybe a subset. Here are the prompts that have been given to me, so I can again group what I'm doing into a series of drawings. Well, I think in many ways you can seek out those prompts yourself. Just finding them in daily life, maybe collecting interesting words, opening a dictionary at a random place, turning to a novel and reading out a sentence in the middle. Any of those can act as prompts for illustrations. But equally, you can have visual prompts where you decide you're going to draw only cats, or a series of dragons, or a series of, I don't know, illustrations to a linked title. Wednesday afternoon at 3 o'clock, or the thing that happened at the bus stop. And that's a series of 4 drawings. And it makes you think about the context and the way in which you can extrapolate on the prompt, turning it into something more imaginative. It's a little workout, I think, for one's visual imagination. And the beauty of it is that there's no right or wrong way to do any of this. There's only your way. And I think the voyage we're all on is discovering our own ways to navigate our picture making. And I think that is the joy of it, certainly. And I find moments like this where I'm just enjoying the feel of the paper, the texture, the sound of the pen on paper, all these very sort of sensory things that one experiences as you make marks. At the same time as enjoying those moments, you can be thinking about where the drawing is going, what it's going to become. I've just embarked on, I suppose, my big publishing project for the first half of this year, which is illustrating the Little Prince. And on Friday I got to the end of the sort of prelims before the book proper begins. So that is the introductory, the first page, the title page, a couple of contents page, introductory spread, things like that before the text actually begins. It's a sort of stage setting, I suppose, and it's very interesting because it gives you, it makes you think about the overall style you're going to employ, the feel that you want to convey. These prelim pages suggest all these things for the reader as they pick up the book and start to turn the pages. So it's not quite like an orchestra tuning up, but it's maybe like an overture, where you're sort of developing themes that will then recur as you illustrate the book. So it's quite an important time just to get one's head straight. And I've been really pleased the way it's gone this week, in terms of setting out how I'm going to approach this classic and much loved text. And I want to respect it. I want to give it, its due. I'm not going to, attempt visually to reinvent this marvelous classic story. I'm a fan of the novel, and I want that to come through. So yes, I'm not attempting to reinvent the wheel. At the same time, I do want it to have a distinctive quality to it that comes from my imagination, and that is in sympathy with the text. So I think those are my goals. I also don't want to be daunted by it. I don't want to almost be overly respectful. I want to have some fun. And so the way that I am drawing the asteroids that the Little Prince visits will be familiar to the people who enjoy my floating rocks. There's a definite connection there. And I'm also going to enjoy drawing the fox who the Little Prince meets, and forms just a heart-warming, in a very literal sense, I suppose, heart-warming relationship with this fox. And that lies close to the centre of the book. And so the fox, I think, is an incredibly important character. And it just so happens I have 3 resident foxes in my garden. They're young foxes, possibly from the same litter. I'm not quite sure of the natural history of foxes, how gregarious they are. But these 3 seem to be a little band, and they obviously have a den somewhere behind the garages, possibly a little bit further down the street. And they have their, I suppose, like neighbourhood cats, have their trails that they walk. These foxes have, I suppose, a circular trail that they pursue. So the other day I was just walking up the garden path towards the studio. I looked up and there was this young fox standing on the garden wall above me, looking down at me, with a sort of insouciant curiosity, not too bothered, aware of me, but, not about to run away, which was quite extraordinary. So I've been getting to observe the wild animal before I incorporate the fox into the project I'm working on. So it's quite a nice coincidence maybe that I'm visited by foxes as I'm drawing foxes. I've also taken possession of a consignment of dip pen nibs, which is what I'm going to use to illustrate my second project for this half of the year, which is my middle grade novel, Tiggy Thistle and the Lost Guardians. And I'm going to enjoy creating the illustrations to that story as I progress, and I will be using a lot of dip pen, I think, in the illustrations, and I think possibly a second colour. I haven't quite worked out that yet, but it is a sort of companion piece to my first middle grade novel, which is the Cloud Horse Chronicles. I can hear people waking up in my house and talking outside the door, so my bedroom door. I'm sitting at the desk that I have in my bedroom, above which is this lovely painting that my wife did of some woods in Norfolk. I like that sort of sense of getting into the woods towards I like to think of it as a sunset. Okay. Now, in keeping with the other drawings in this series, I'm going to draw a figure. In flowing robes. I've drawn a lot of flowing robes recently. Just this morning I drew a rather sinister figure sitting on top of a fridge, waiting for Boris Johnson to emerge and face the music. I quite enjoyed drawing the folds of its black robes. It's saying, come out, wherever you are. And there's a fridge magnet holding up a little memo that says, waiting for Sue Gray. I like to draw a little political drawing. I'm now ignoring the camera work, so forgive me. I'm a little bit carried away thinking about Boris Johnson and his problems, which is the subject of my cartoon tomorrow in The Observer. But it's Saturday, and I have the whole of Saturday to myself. Jo's in Norfolk, looking after her parents. I'm going to go up and join her at the end of the month, but in the meantime I'm down here working on the little prints and various things I need to get done here before I go back up to Norfolk. I'm missing Norfolk a lot. Apparently it's looking absolutely beautiful in this sort of winter weather, frosty weather we've been having over the last few days. But it's also nice to be in Brighton, and it's lovely to have a weekend completely to myself. And I've got lots of plans. Well, when I say lots of plans, I've got one principal plan, and that's to draw some more cards in this deck of cards that I'm designing, which just consists of paths. Maybe tomorrow I will show you those cards. I want to make them up into a deck and then allow anyone who wants a pack to just use them in any way they want, in a sort of imaginative way. There are no rules. You just lay the cards down in patterns, and you can change the patterns as you go, because they're just a series of interconnecting paths running through invented landscapes. But again, a very enjoyable way to spend a free weekend. Back to The Little Prince on Monday morning. And I can't believe we're already the second week into January. Is it the second or third week? Yes, second week. End of the second week of January already. I've only just got rid of that sense of the new year. Only just getting used to the idea of it being 22, not 21. And it's not helped because so much of the news is dominated by things that have been going on in 2020. So it is a curious sense of déjà vu that is afflicting the UK at the moment. And I hope we can move past that and towards interesting and creative projects that take us into the future, rather than this tendency to look over our shoulders at the appalling 2 years that we've all faced. And then I have a lovely expanse of sky just to enjoy, creating a backdrop, and I can spend a really happy half hour just building up the textures in the sky. And I won't make you watch that. I think that comes under the category watching paint dry, just watching crosshatch textures develop. But I just thought I'd give you a little bit of a taste of what that process is. So now I feel nicely warmed up and ready to jump into a day of drawing cards. And I'll let you know how it goes tomorrow. Tomorrow I will show you the cards. I will also do some sketchbook page turning, and I will maybe just show you the completion of this drawing too. So plenty of things to post up tomorrow as we start the third week of January. My goodness. But it's already turning out to be an eventful and fascinating new year.